All right, so I haven't really thought of a name for this just yet, but I've had heaps of conversations in the last, it was this week actually, with heaps of associates and like young owners who are, they're struggling with marketing and they're like sort of had a model that they worked in before and then now they want to start their own thing and they're kind of like, do I take the parts? Do I copy it? How do I then market it? How do I sell it? How do I do this? Do I do that? Like I don't really know what to do next. Like what's the first thing? So I don't know what to call this yet, but this is how I've been explaining it, and I can sort of see it clicks for people. So I figured it probably deserves to live online. So in in sales, there's a thing called a value stack. What a value stack is if you think back to like those TV commercials where they sell like knives and stuff on TV, and they're like the nicer dicer slicer plus, you'll get one, but then you'll get a second one, and then we'll throw in the knife and the magnet. That's like a value stack, and then it's like, and then it's all for $99 if you buy right now. That's what a value stack is. Like you stack all the value and then you take the price down. And chiros have done this in a way in their report of findings. But the issue is the only thing we have is chiro. So we actually break down. So it's like if in that nicer dicer slicer thing, it's like we break down exactly what's in that one thing instead of adding all the other stuff. So we're like trying to expand on one thing. And this is why like our whole identity can be tied to being a chiro. That's why it's very hard to market it. It's hard to know who you're talking to. It's hard to make content consistently because you run out of ideas. And then also it's hard to take any of this online because you can't take Chiro online. So what that typically looks like is our value stack is something along the lines of there's Chiro, then so it might be like 12 visits for 6 weeks. We're going to do that. And then we're going to do some soft tissue therapy. And then we're going to do some exercises. And that's kind of like our value stack, right? And it's like, okay, well then what problem do you solve? It's like, oh, well, I'm going to make people healthy. And that's why it's so easy to argue with chiros, because it's like, if you're going to try and make people healthy and the only intervention is chiro, we all know that that's not necessarily true. Like we adjust people who aren't healthy and they're still not healthy. So there's got to be like more to it. Okay. So getting to that point, I think is sort of the first stepping stone for a lot of people, where it's like you actually get to sit down and think about what your protocol is, like what your value stack is basically. So and you're already doing this. So it's like, this is more of just a reflection of like what you already know. So when you're in the room and you're talking to people, naturally you're going to have things come up. Okay. So you might talk about like sleep, because that's got not really like, you don't adjust someone's sleep, like sleep's a separate thing. So you might have like sleep is a thing that comes up. You might have supplements, you might have nutrition, movement or exercise. I'll call that like movement slash habits. You might have ergonomics, and then you might have like exercise. You might have heaps of other stuff, breath work, hot, cold, all that stuff. But anyway, you see what I mean? So it's like, you've got chiro, sleep, supplements, nutrition. Like these are all the things that you don't have to be a nutritionist, but it's like, these are things that are important and they are part of the problem, like the part of the protocol that I use to help someone. Okay. Then when you've got that, you can then apply it to someone. So it's like, okay, well, all of these things help solve a problem. It, if you said like get someone healthy, it's probably a bit broad. If you said um, to help uh, to help a mum get through her day better or function better or something, then it's like, you're going to help a mum function better. How are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to do it with good exercise, check her ergonomics, like how she's picking up her baby, how like all the cars set up, all that stuff, and make sure she's eating good food and she's meal plan like prepping. Um, she's going to make sure we can get as good of a sleep rhythm as we can. And then also there's some chiro involved in that as well. So then if you say I help mums, function better and feel better through this protocol, that actually kind of makes sense. Like that's not something you can argue. But if you said I help mums function and move better with chiro, you can like see how it sort of just stops and you can rip that thing apart. And that's what happens, particularly online. Because it's like there's gaps, there's other stuff that needs to be done. Whereas if you have this and they try and rip it apart and they're like, yeah, but chiro, and then you're like, yeah, but there's also like all of this other stuff. like chiro is just a piece of the whole solution, then it makes sense. And also, now you can talk about all this stuff as well. So when you're talking online to those mums about all these parts, you've got so many different things that you can talk about because that's kind of your overall protocol that you help that person with. So that's kind of the thing that I think we need to spend some time on. The way to do it is literally just listen to yourself in practice. Like what are you already talking about with your patients? And that comes up quite a lot. And then who do you talk to about it the most is probably how you figure out who the person is. Because then when you start to solve their problem with all of that, it's easier to market it because it's like that's the protocol, like it makes sense. It's easier to think of like what a care plan structure should be like. So if you're working for someone else right now, obviously you might not have the ability to change it. But if you go into your own practice, then you're like, okay, well, how do I organize all of this into a care program so that everyone gets that? And I make sure they go through that process to fix these problems to solve this problem. And you can see already how much easier it is to sell that because you're like, it's a 6-month protocol. We go through these things. Month 1 is this, month 2 is this, month 3 is this. And it's like the adjustment frequency inside of there can change, but it's like they understand that you've got like a plan to solve this thing. So sales is easier, marketing's easier because you're known for solving that problem. At this point, your identity is no longer tied to it's not tied to being a chiro anymore. It's tied to solving this problem and you're a chiro at the same time. So yeah, I haven't thought of a name for it. I'll think of something, but that's been something that I found has helped. Just like give people that moment to be like, because it's like if you are bland, broad, you haven't thought through this stuff, all you've got is chiro, and for everyone, it's so hard to market. Like you run out of ideas to talk about pretty quickly. You blend in with everyone else. You're not known for solving anything, and it's really easy to pull your argument apart if it's like even if it's like nervous system regulation and chiro, like, there's other stuff that needs to be done, right? So I think that's worthwhile thinking through. That's where I'd start instead of starting with how do I build a personal brand is like, what's my protocol? Your protocol is going to change over time as you change, but it's like, get your protocol locked in, define that, then you will pull everyone with your personal brand and then you deliver this awesome service that just pulls in even more people. So yeah, don't know what I'd call that yet, but that's where I would start.